Elena here of Sitn'Crochet, and welcome back or welcome to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe so that you can stick around, and if you're a returning subscriber, how you doing? So today's tutorial is this alpine stitch summer top, and I'll be showing you how I managed to achieve this. I will not be using a strict pattern because I'm just using a measurement based pattern. So if you want access to the free pattern, be sure to find that down there in the description box, where there is the paid version as well. As for all the materials that I used in this tutorial, I also linked them down below. If I didn't say this already, you're beautiful. And let's get crocheting. So to begin, you're going to grab your DK weight yarn and your 4.5mm hook, and you're going to begin by making a slip knot. I'm going to assume you already know how to make a slip knot. So now to work this top, you're going to chain whatever number you require or you need to wrap around the bottom of your bust, and make sure that number is an even number. For the size small, I did a chain of 106. So since this is just a for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna chain 20. So just pause the video and go on and chain however many you require for your size. So I ended up making that 26 for my size for the sample. So you're just gonna block off that last chain right there and make an extra one so that we can begin working. And now to make the bottom pretty, we're going to be working into the back bumps of our chain. So you're just going to turn your chain the other way around, and these back bumps right here, they're the ones that we're going to be working into. So into the second chain from the hook, the back bump only, we're going to go in with our single crochet, just like that. You want to make sure you don't skip any stitches. So this is a single crochet if we're using US terms, and it's a double crochet if we're using UK terms. So that's it. All you're gonna do is place that single crochet all the way to the end, and I'm not gonna I'll make you guys watch me place the single crochets in all the 26. So I'm just gonna pause the video, and you might want to do the same. Pause the video and finish off this row, and I'll meet you so that we can get started on row 2. So at the end of row 1, this is what your work should be looking like. To begin the second row, we're gonna begin by making a chain of 2. And for this pattern, chain of 2 will count as a stitch. So the chain of 2 has already substituted for that. We're now going to go in with double crochet into the second chain available, and to do a double chain, just yarn over and pull through 2, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And for this entire row, row 2, we are going to just work double crochets throughout. This is my first tutorial on this channel working with alpine stitch, and it's a very beautiful stitch. So I'm actually planning on making a sweater using that stitch, so you might be seeing that pretty soon. So I'm just gonna continue placing the double crochets, and you want to pause the video and meet me at the end. So I'm going to meet you as I'm finalizing this row 2 so that we can finish off the row together. So here I am going towards the end of my work. I've got 2 more double crochets to work into, and the last one. And so far, this is what your work should be looking like at the end of row 2. So to begin row 3, we're doing another single crochet row. So you're just going to chain 1 and turn into there. Chain 1 does not count as a stitch for the single crochet rows. Into the first stitch, we're going in with our single crochet, and we're just going to place the single crochet going on all the way down. Some patterns will just start with a double crochet, a row of double crochet followed by the single crochet, but then I started with a single crochet to give our top a nice bottom band, a nice hold in to make it look nice and neat. So I'm just going to continue as I am doing, placing single crochets all the way, and let me meet you as I'm about to complete the row. So here I am towards the end, and remember that last one is a chain 2 space, so I'm just gonna go through there, there we go, and finish off that single crochet. Now beginning row 4. Now this is where the alpine stitch is gonna start to form. Let me just lay it down for you so that you can see what the first 3 rows look like. Now we're about to start forming the stitch, or our alpine stitch. So as you can see, this was the very first stitch that we worked into, the double crochet, and now this double crochet, the chain 2, remember it's counting as a stitch, it's going to substitute for that. So we're going to go into the next double crochet, and we're going to front post double crochet right into there, and then the next double crochet, which is here, we'll just make a normal one into the single crochet spot. And then we're going to find the next available double crochet, which is this one. So this double crochet we made into that has substituted for this, just like the first chain 2 substituted for this. So this one, it needs to be a front post, so we're going to go into the one underneath right there and make a front post double crochet, and then we're going to find the next available single crochet and place another double crochet, and then into the next one, front post double, followed by double crochet, front post double, and then a double crochet. And that's all we're going to be doing for this entire row. If it's your first time, you want to make sure that you're truly going into the correct single crochet, so you can just turn it around and see that the front post you made is going to substitute for this one, which means the next double crochet should be right in this one right here, the one I'm working into. Skip that one and into there, just like that. We've skipped this one because we made it a front post, so this next single crochet is where we're going to be working our next double crochet, and just like that, that is how you're gonna complete your row. So I believe by now you get the idea of it. You can pause the video right now, and well, you know what, I'm already at the end of the row, so we might as well just finish it off together. And by the way, if you haven't already, be sure to smash that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're notified when I do upload. And if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. So as you can see, the last place to place a front post would be this one right here, but since it's towards the end of our row, I'm just going to place a double crochet right in there. This will not alter our pattern as much. It's because I just want to make it so much easier to work into, and you're going to be coming across such situations in every other row or so, and it's okay if you do what I just did right here. So now you're going to chain 1. Let me just lay it down so that you can see what our first row of the alpine stitch looks like. So chaining 1 and turning. Now for this row, it's gonna be a row of single crochet. So following, for the rest of the pattern, we're gonna be repeating these rows, these 3 rows, the one that we just did of the front posts and normal double crochets, single crochet, and the one that we're about to do after this row. So just as we did earlier, just placing a single crochet into every stitch, going all the way down. So pause the video and meet me at the end of your row. So I'm towards the end of my work, and I've got 2 more single crochets to work into. The last one will not be as visible because it's that chain 2 that we made, so be sure to not skip that. Another thing that you could do is just put a stitch marker in that chain 2 space. So just like this, I'll do a chain up of 2, and just into the back of this last chain right here, you can just place a stitch marker so that you know that's a stitch you shouldn't skip. So we're back to our other next alpine stitch row, and now we've already made that first stitch, which is for this one right here. And if you see, the next one was this front post double crochet. So on top of that front post double crochet, you're just going to make a normal double crochet, because we're just going to be doing the opposite now. And then what was a normal double crochet in the other one will now become our front post double crochet. So this is what we're going to be doing, pulling the stitch back in each and every other row. Now our front post double crochet for the previous row is now going to become a normal double crochet, and then our normal double crochet is going to become a front post double crochet, just like that. All we're doing now is the opposite of that row, and notice where I'm putting my my hook in when I'm making that front post double crochet. I'm not putting it in through here, no, I'm actually going under the actual stitch, which is through here. This is going to help push up the double crochet stitch to give it make it look more alpine-y, if that makes sense. So that's what we're doing for this row. Front posts and back posts. I mean front posts and normal double crochets. And we are almost at the end of the row. And into there, and the last one is going to be a normal double crochet, just like that. Now chain 1, and if I lay this down, you're gonna see that the stitch is actually now starting to show, that alpine stitch, and that's what we're gonna be doing. So do your chain up of 1 and turn, and this entire row is just gonna be made of single crochets. And so by now you've already gotten the idea, you know what we're gonna do, you know how we're making this. So pause the video. This is just a normal single crochet row. I'm just gonna place the single crochets going all the way down, and then after I'm done, I'm just gonna remind you how we do that row, the alpine stitch row yet again. Reaching the end of the row, chain 2 and turn. So there we go. This chain 2 right here has substituted for this first stitch, so which means my next one is this one right here. So since it's a normal one, I'm gonna have to do a front post double crochet, and then the other one is a front post, so it's going to have to be a normal double crochet, and followed by a front post. So that's what you're doing. Even if you forget what row you are on, all you have to do is look at the stitch. If the first one is a normal stitch, it means that it's going to have to be a front post. And that's all there is to this pattern. I think by now you've got the hang of it, and you are able to continue with the rest of the work, with the rest of your top. So I'm just going to finish this row so that then I show you how we're going to finish off everything. So let me just pause the video and grab the top that I made. So here we are. I've got my measuring tape. Just going to show you how many inches my top ended up being. I did 2 rows of single crochets at the top, as you can see, and I'm going to show you why, but it's around 10 inches. You can make yours longer or shorter if you want, and if I had more buttons I definitely would have added slightly a bit more right here, but as you can see I only had 4, so I had to make do with this. So you want to continue doing what we're doing right here for until you have whatever desired length you want. Like I say, this is not a strict pattern. This is optional. We're all designers right now, and we're all gonna make what we're all gonna make the length that we want and the size that we want. So I'm just gonna finish off this row so that I can now show you how we can begin making the straps and all that and adding in the patterns. So pause the video. I'm just going to finish this row of camera and then we can start finishing the top off together. So I ended this row, and as you remember it was a double crochet row. So you want to make sure that you're finishing off your work on a single crochet row for the sake of neatness. So I'm just going to finish off this row with the single crochets. So now that I've finished, this is the wrong side of the work by the way, now that I finished that row of single crochets, into that last one I'm going to place 2 single crochets into the last stitch because I want to bend. We're going to smooth out the sides now because as you can see they're really ugly and we need them to look pretty since our top is going to have buttons. So into every double crochet row side I was placing 2 single crochets and I was skipping every single crochet row. So because we want this to be as smooth as it can be, and this is my double crochet row, so I'm going to place 2 single crochets in there. That was my single crochet row. I'm going to skip it. Into the next double crochet row I'll place 2 single crochets, single crochet row, skip it, and then into the next double crochet row side I will place 2 single crochets, and into the last one just like that. At the end you just want to do a chain up of 1 and turn. You might want to pause the video by now because I know you didn't, but you want to, for the last one, you want to get that first row of single crochet so that we look neat, just like that. Chain 1 and turn. And then we're just going to do 2 rows of single crochets for the side. This was my first for the side, and that's where the last one will be. So now we want to grab our stitch markers because we want to decide where we want our straps to be. So you want to try and wrap this top around yourself so that you know you can determine where you want your stitch markers to be. I'm just going to do guesswork. I'm going to assume that's where I want my first strap for the front to be. So after I've assumed where my first strap for the front is going to be, I just want to close the work like this. Assume I've closed it like this. Let me just fold it in half and okay, like that. And obviously your top is bigger. Since this is where my first strap is going to be, now let me move it a bit this side. Okay, so assuming this is where my first strap is going to be, right here. Obviously the other one needs to be corresponding, which is just right here for the other side. So this is how I was determining where the back strap is going to be. I was only focusing on the front, and the back was finding itself. So now you're just going to count the similar stitches. Like for this, I've placed my first stitch marker into the third. Is it the third? 1, 2, fourth. For the front, it won't be the fourth for you. Obviously, it's going to be a different number. You're just going to count the same for this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then after the fourth, I'm just going to count how many single crochets there are in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then into the seventh. So I'm going to do the very same thing for this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and into the seventh. Right here, just like that. So now it's time to get started on placing the straps. Gonna do a chain up one, and right into there I'm gonna go in with single crochets. So now that I've reached here, I'm gonna place single crochet anyway into that stitch, and then I'm gonna do a chain of 80 for the normal one. For this, I'm just gonna chain 10. Oops. 9 and 10, blocking off that 10th. One more, and then into the back bumps, I'm just gonna go in with slip stitches. So let me just lay it down for you first of all, so that you can see what it's looking like. So I'm just gonna continue slip stitching into the back bumps only. And that's the last one right there. So I'm just gonna remove the stitch marker because I don't need it anymore. And then I will slip stitch into the next single crochet. And that's gonna be our first strap. Done. And then I'm just gonna single crochet to my next stitch marker. And as usual, into the stitch marker, I will place a single crochet, chain 10, blocking off that last chain, add one more, and then into the back bumps only, slip stitch. I did make these chains a little too loose. You don't want to make them as loose. And again, I'm gonna remove my stitch marker into the next single crochet, slip stitch to join the row, and then I will single crochet to my next stitch marker yet again. And chain 80. into the next single crochet, slip stitch and single crochet to your last stitch marker. And chain 80. Slip stitch into the back bumps for the last time. And that was the last one. Slip stitch into the last one, next single crochet, and finalize with your single crochets. That happens to be my last single crochet, but obviously you're going to be working into a lot more single crochets than I just did. So into the last one, as we did earlier, we're going to be placing 2 single crochets in there, because now we're about to finish off the other last side of our double crochet. So as usual, skip that single crochet row and place 2 single crochet in the next double crochet side. Skip the single crochet row and into the next double crochet side, place 2 single crochets, and just like that, going all the way down. But for the last row, we're going to single crochet into the first single crochet that we made to make it neat. Chain 1 and turn, and single crochet your way back up. And this is the last one right here. We're just going to do chain up of 1, grab your scissors, cut off the yarn, and then we're just going to weave in these 2 ends. It's going to be this one and the one there, and you're just going to weave it into your work. But that's going to be your top done. Not done quite yet, because we have to add on these little buttons. I'm not going to do that, but I will explain how I did that. So you're just going to fold your work in like that. Grab the I used a tapestry needle for this part, the very tiny ones, because the buttons are very small and my yarn needles are quite big. I couldn't make it through, not even the tip. So you just want to locate where you want your buttons to be and which side. I wasn't sure which side the girls' buttons usually are, but anyway, I did what felt right for me, so you're gonna do what feels right for you. So you're just gonna locate where you want your buttons to be. So say you want 6 or you want 8. You're gonna place the first one, make sure the first one is at the very top and the last one is at the very bottom, and then you can distribute the others in between. As for the buttonholes, don't worry, because make sure the buttons are small so that they can just go into the sides right here. The spaces are big enough for the small buttons, and they give it a great hold compared to a single crochet. I feel like a single crochet, the holes are quite big and the buttons can just slip out, and you don't want that to happen to you while you're moving around in town. So yeah, you're just gonna grab your tapestry needle and sew the buttons on, and then you're just gonna, that's it, your top is done. Weave in the funny bits, and that's it. This was just a miniature version of the crochet alpine stitch top. I hope you loved it. I hope the tutorial made a lot of sense, and why don't you stick around for more tutorials just like this. Share this video to those that you know will definitely find it helpful or will love it, and if you didn't already, subscribe and like this video so that YouTube shows it to a lot more people. Until next time guys, thank you for stopping by.